Welcome to part 26 of our 999 playthrough, and after that emotionally traumatic sequence where many people died and the girl we were in love with disappeared, we start yet again back in time.
Wait, that's the only thing you took back from it? I mean, what was it? We found out that who the bad guy was, and then we roasted the bad guy, and then we had, like you said, that additional scene where our girlfriend, went away. And then we had those credits. Junpei remembers that too. That's sort of a side effect of the morphogenetic field, is that, credits just sort of embed themselves into your consciousness.
It's very inconvenient at many points in time.
It's kind of the whole reason he's in such a moody mood in the third game, is because, if all you see is just a bunch of credits playing all the damn time, I'd get grumpy too.
You can't see anything, man.
Everyone else is just getting credit for everything else. When does Junpei's name appear in the credits?
I don't know. But as you can tell, we're starting off with door number 7 yet again, because we are on the final path. So, as we've said a million times before, this is for door number 4 you have to start with first, and then door number 7. Now, you don't get a whole lot of new information to go into door number 7. But you'll see what you get. But in the meantime, considering that it's mostly the same stuff we've seen before, Mexi has an interesting has many interesting observations.
Aw, shucks.
Just in life in general, but specifically about this Enneagram of Personality chart and how it pertains to the 9 characters of this video game. Would you like to explain why?
Yeah, so you know how back in the 40s and 50s you had all these psychologists that are like, we can break down the entire complexity of the human consciousness and personality, and I bet I can break it down into a 2-digit number. So that's what led to a whole bunch of just malarkey personality theories. I know most of you are familiar with the Myers-Briggs version, where it's extrovert with feeling and intuition in some other letter, I don't even care. But no, so there's another one of those called the Enneagram of Personalities, where it's essentially in a 9-digit, or basically a 9-point model for the human psyche. And basically each of the characters in this game can be attributed to one of the personalities in this model, which is kind of neat. I don't know how much of it is meant to be coincidental as opposed to actual conscious thought from the designer that, they saw these personalities and were like, we're going to give each, specifically design each character. But, there's a lot of at least correlation. They don't actually line up numerically. So Ace being the first character in this game doesn't necessarily line up with the first personality. Actually, the funny thing is that no one actually lines up with the first personality, which is the reformer, the perfectionist. I know some people kind of want to attribute that to the 9th man. That's fair. Every personality needs a person assigned to it, and it's not like we get much of his active personality. It's more just, what's alluded to, what's in flashbacks, and then the few actions he took. But it does mention things such as corruptness, imbalance, and being bad, and literally his first action in the game is holding up a small child. So
at knife point.
Spot on, right? I agree.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
You want to just go down this list then, I guess?
Yeah, sure. You know it better than I do because you came up with it before we started recording, and I have a shitty memory, so...
all I did was really write them down. Going through this, Snake is the investigator, which has to do with being stingy. Basically, each personality has has a basic fear and a basic desire. It's very rudimentary, bro. It's basically a horoscope. It's most of these essentially descriptions are so broad and vague. You could assign them to any character, being bad. Okay, every villain ever. Thank you. But there's some other cool ones on here. Santa is the enthusiast. So it has to do with wisdom and planning. He's afraid of being trapped, of pain, and of deprivation. I don't see much suffering in his character, but Can look at that maybe later.
Yeah, and it seemed a bit odd because that kind of overlaps with another one, the achiever and performer characteristic, which the ego fixation for that is vanity, essentially loving oneself to the point of narcissism. And I kind of get that vibe from Santa as well. So
yeah, see, that's really weird because the individualist, that's actually Lotus's assigned personality, I guess, which is okay. It does make sense just with her attire, but it's still just, I feel like the story reason conflicts with that sort of idea. Like, the whole point of her outfit is just, I feel it's more just a coincidence. Like, that's not her, like, being super expressive. I just feel she got kidnapped on her, like, afternoon, like, Zumba class lesson. Like,
it's a hell of a Zumba outfit.
Right? I don't know. She goes all out. That's why, that's why she's the individualist. Is like, she'll dress like that to Zumba, I guess. So.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Just however you choose.
Yeah.
We won't judge.
Nah, not at all. Not a deep thoughts, bro. Clover is the loyalist, which we've all seen the axe ending. We're all very familiar. Junpei is the challenger, which is cool, I guess.
Yeah. That fits.
Has to do with finding the truth, which, if we've all played Persona 4, we're all just trying to reach the truth. June is the peacemaker, which makes sense. She's always just trying to... Why doesn't anyone think of the children? She just wants everyone to get along and survive. And then, last but not least, 7 is the helper, which you made a poignant observation, is that the helper's fear is being unloved, which I gotta say is completely unfounded, and he has nothing to worry about.
Absolutely.
Best
probably
character.
My favorite character. Yeah.
Best girl.
Mm-hmm. best waifu of the Zero Escape series.
Yeah, I guess that's the right term there, really, because anyone can be a waifu, right? But best girl is like usually, that's like dating wise. That's if you like really wanted to date a cartoon. Oh yeah, this is like the one thing that's different in this route, huh? Is that now we're actually talking about the mummy.
Yeah, the mummy. The
mummy, which very well could have actually been on the Titanic. We don't fucking know. We're just finding everything out about this shit.
Yeah, it's not even pseudoscience. It's just a conspiracy theory at this point.
It is. This is so fucking weird.
There's some mummy on there that didn't die or is dead, or the water inside its body is essentially the all ice, or no, the Ice 9 crap. Wait. This game has been.
Has that tie even been established? Because I remember that there's some bullshit with the all ice story where it's like one of the slowest revealing like anecdotes in this game, and then it's the one with the most absolute payoff in the whole damn series, until like the end of the second game. But like, yeah, they keep dropping the hint about, there was a mummy, or it's a Titanic, and it had a mummy, but we don't know about that. But okay, there totally was a mummy. And then also there's water, but it's not water, it's weird water. And what if someone's body had that weird water? Like, this one is the one that inches ever so closer to each other. Like, you have these two ideas, because all the other stories have to do with the morphogenetic field and like psychic communication. That's like the whole deal with those puzzles. But literally the whole concept of even talking about Ice 9 and then the Titanic's cargo, like, these are two pieces of the puzzle that just like come closer and closer together until like the very end, and then you're like, oh my god, what if the mummy was made of all of Ice 9? I mean, you can say like we're basically 80%. You're basically a giant water balloon, like, that's thinking and talking.
I suppose that's an apt way to put it. It kind of makes me wish that all water balloons were Ice 9, so that it can make those throwing competitions take years.
Ow! I don't know, like, if you'd want to fill a water balloon with Ice 9, though. I feel like that would hurt a child.
Well, at least the balloon wouldn't burst so long as the material inside it doesn't pop it.
Is that true? Yeah, basically, yeah. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's just essentially ice in a little balloon. So as long as that ice isn't sharp or anything, it's not going to pop. So And technically it's water, so you've won. You just win. You just gotta wait until everyone else just drops their balloon.
You would. Oh, that kind of water balloon. I thought you were talking about like a water balloon fight, not like, last man standing with a water balloon. Sorry.
That works too. That works as well.
I was wondering, like, why are you throwing water balloons full of Ice 9? What is wrong with you?
Oh,
jeez, Evan plays for keeps when he plays. Like, I don't think I want to go to Ohio now, or at least I'm going in the summer.
Don't worry, I'll only pelt you with one of them if I ever get the chance to.
You'll just be a dirt ball. You're like, it's an Ohio special. I didn't know.
But yeah, thoughts really haven't changed much about room number 7 as well. It's still another decent puzzle room, but it's more so just the material that you learn within the puzzle room that's more interesting than the puzzle room itself.
Yeah, I feel like this is content that definitely benefits from the new releases, like story format, because I still only have the DS version. I can't really play Steam games too well, so like I would not, I'll admit that, as someone who still loves this game, I definitely would not put my cartridge back into my DS just to play to make sure I got like the little extra scene in that one puzzle room. But if I can at least select that puzzle room, like at that point, it's like, yeah, let's just get that 100% completion right at that point. So definitely big ups to Zero Escape for, moving their whole franchise game design forward in a positive way, in a way that actually benefits the original games. Like, that's huge. That's kind of big on the whole, because, everything's getting a remake and a remaster and a re-release. Like, the fact that there was actually legitimately a re-release that added one mechanic that just makes the whole game better, like,
exactly,
it's kind of huge. But it's just on such a small scale that, who cares?
I still think that people who, because, I mean, for sure, if you're going to play 999, you should play the re-release because of if only for just that one edition that makes the game so much less tedious to go through.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, there's more to it than that, but just realize that they just made one change, and it's that huge of a change.
Yeah, everything else is just kind of fluff if you think about it. Like, even the voice acting, which it's kind of mixed throughout, but I enjoyed what was there. But anyway, as I was saying, even if you play that game and then you end up enjoying the entire series altogether, I would still recommend at least trying out the DS version, because it just has such a very personal, very very handheldy feel to it.
I would agree. I'd agree that like you should play the re-release first, like play the whole game in the re-release.
Yeah, exactly.
And then once you know what's going on, because you'll know the characters, you'll love the characters, you'll know where everything's going. Like, I feel that with that, your mind clear of that, if you play it on the handheld, like, especially towards the end, you're right. Like, the game was designed to be played on a DS. It's like the emotional core of this game is very well tied to the hardware. So it's another thing too. Like, yeah, you should definitely play it at least to feel certain moments, see how people would have gotten it for the first time. But yeah, definitely to get through all the tedium of, to get to the game part of the game, just go play it on an iOS or something. Just knock it out.
Yeah. Don't get the iOS version though.
Don't do that.
It cuts out all the puzzle rooms, and even though the puzzle rooms in here aren't anything too special, like, come on, man, that's like a crucial part of the entire game. You can't just cut it out and not expect anyone to think it's a better version.
Yeah, no, just get your computer or your other electronic device, and then search it out and play it. Pay them properly. Seek a way out. Pay them, of course. These people worked very hard on this game. They deserve your money.
Yeah. Now, how's this for a hell of a callback? We haven't seen this 4-leaf clover bookmark since I think part 4.
Oh yeah.
Of this series.
Wait, because you only pick it up in one of the first 3 choices of the room, like that's what Lisa Yvette. This is essentially a very close Yvette B situation.
Yes. Yeah, and what was it he said? Hope, faith, luck, and love. That was it. That's what the 4-leaf clover apparently represents, and that's why Santa hates it so much.
Really?
apparently.
I guess it's because it doesn't stand for money, fancy stylish scarves, and mad bitch money.
I mean, you gotta have some luck if you want to get some money, so there is that aspect. Maybe he likes that part.
Well, I could also see him being a man of the opposite sort of sense that, he believes that there is no luck and that you have to work for your shit.
Well, yeah, that's fair as well, especially in this economy.
Yeah. I mean, he's a man who has his mind on numbers, very specific numbers involving like the temperature that the human body burns at. We're not entirely sure why he has that memorized, but it probably helps him with investments or something.
I just noticed something when Clover asked Junpei what he thought of when he heard the word experiment. Like that's pointing toward, now that I look at it, that's pointing towards something very, very big. Boy,
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that part yet. We're just at the part where we know that there was an experiment that did involve children that Seven investigated as a cop.
Yeah.
We also know that this is a well-written game where just about every thread, matters in some sort of context. So, I wouldn't say there's too many information points that are just out there to be out there. They're usually brought back in for a revelation of some kind. Shh.
Now here comes the scientific parts, and this section, like I said before, is probably one of my favorite parts of the entire game, just because of the concepts that get discussed. Because it's not really so much pseudoscience; it's more so just kind of actual psychological, philosophical theories that is kind of a precursor to what we see in A Virtue's Last Reward. It's actually it's very interesting, very, very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, like we said before, that's kind of what brings this into a more pure form of science fiction. There is actual science here, but they're making up their own kind of stories based on stuff that could maybe possibly happen. But no, in the case of this stuff, these are actual thought experiments. Lock Sock, or otherwise known as My Lucky Sock, and the Ship of Theseus too. They're all just a different play on if you slowly replace an entity with different bits into the same shape, what's the original, where is the essential being or the original core of something.
Had you heard of these theories before you played 999?
Not before I played the game, but I have heard of them since and been oh shit, I learned about that in a fucking video game. I do that a lot, actually. It makes me very socially awkward, but that's where that's where I saw it. All right, it's not my fault video games beat the education system to the punch.
Dude, real talk. When I was in, I think, 10th grade, I was taking a health class, and we were learning about thyroid diseases. And at the time, I was super, super into Trauma Team.
Yes!
And because I know you are as well. And one of the diseases in that game, there's a section in the game where you can play as a diagnostician, and you essentially diagnose people with multiple diseases. One of the diseases, not to spoil anything, but it's essentially a solution to one of the sections, the very first one, I should say. One of the diseases you diagnose a person with is plumber's disease, and that's a thyroid disease. So I think we discussed that in class, and I knew about it beforehand, and I think the teacher asked if anyone knew what it was, and I raised my hand to kind of explain it a little bit, and she asked, "Oh, yeah, that's right, where'd you learn that from?" And I said, "A video game." And everyone kind of laughed a little, and I just hung my head down.
M-E subscript I-R-L. But yeah, no, same. It happens all the fucking time. I think I blew one dude's mind when I knew who the fuck Artemisia was. It's oh, I can't really tell you where I learned that though. So
yeah, but Seven has to interrupt our wonderful conversation about some interesting scientific theories just so we can leave this room. which, I mean, I guess is the end goal after all, but still, he could have at least been a little bit more forethought in his thinking.
Yeah, but it does bring up one of my favorite like little thoughts to have is the fact that, yeah, you constantly are replacing and rejuvenating your cells, so the same actual physical, atoms that were making up the cells of you months ago are not the same atoms that make you up right now, and that's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
Like, to make it even weirder, it's actually all the molecules and carbons that you ate. Like, you are
Right.
that spinach you ate, like, months ago. What?
Yeah.
And take even further, all of those atoms were all created in the core of stars, like, times after the Big Bang. And so basically, all the molecules that make you up were generated in stars. We are literally made out of stardust.
Oh, God. We gotta stop now before everyone has an existential crisis. I'm having one at this very moment, and I'm gonna have an even bigger one as we keep getting it further into the deep web with this game on the next part.